In the meantime, you just better follow government and you can...
With the entire country still waiting for the arrival of COVID-19 vaccines, President Duterte blames other countries that are allegedly causing the global supply shortage. Vaccine confidence is still too low. Survey shows only 1 out of 5 Filipinos are willing to get vaccinated against COVID-19. The Justice Department is set to conduct a probe into the alleged misencounter between the police and the PDEA in Quezon City yesterday. Exactly 35 years ago, the Philippines ousted a dictator. Today, we commemorate the heroes of the 1986 People Power Revolution. And Grammy-nominated group BTS surprises fans with their show-stopping performance on MTV Unplugged. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Charles Lejano. The government has set its target for a major vaccine rollout by the 3rd or 4th quarter of this year. This as the Philippines is poised to receive just about 5.1 million vaccine doses in the 1st quarter. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez says the government is still negotiating for more vaccines to arrive earlier, since 5.1 million doses will only cover about 2.5 million recipients. This won't be enough to cover the government's priority list, which includes about 1.7 million healthcare workers and 8 million senior citizens.
And then, ang main volume po ng ating mga procurement at saka yung sa COVAX ay darating po ng 3rd quarter at saka 4th quarter. So yung ating planning po sa ating vaccination, ang major rollout po talaga natin will be coming from the 3rd quarter and 4th quarter.
But amid criticisms that the government's vaccine plan has been delayed by their slow pandemic response, President Rodrigo Duterte said the blame should fall on countries that are hogging the supply. For now, the chief executive urges the public to simply follow the health protocols implemented by the government.
There are only 10 countries today. In fact, 75% of all vaccination, 75% ng lahat ng bakuna nakuha ng 10 countries, 10 lang. Yung 130, wala. So, maghintay tayo. In the meantime, you just better follow government.
Health Secretary Francisco Duque is allaying fears over the safety and efficacy of Sinovac shots. Duque says the Chinese vaccine has been proven to be 100% effective in preventing severe cases of COVID-19.
Now, Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Sinovac, based on their clinical trial data, 100% ang efficacy rate nila in preventing severe COVID infection. Eh, yun naman, sir, ang importante kasi yung namamatay galing doon sa severe. So, if you're able to prevent severe infection, walang mamamatay. And Sinovac belongs to that group that offers or provides 100% efficacy or effectiveness, sir.
True enough, Sinovac, Moderna, and AstraZeneca all reported 100% effectiveness against severe COVID cases after a primary analysis of their phase 3 trials. This means no patient who received complete doses of these vaccines died or was hospitalized due to COVID-19. But this doesn't mean that the vaccines will totally protect its recipients and prevent them from contracting the disease. After all, the shots are showing wildly varying general efficacy rates against mild and moderate cases, with Sinovac only reporting a 50.4% efficacy on this front. This means that you might still get COVID-19 after receiving any one of these vaccines, but there's little chance that you might be needing hospitalization or die due to the virus. But in an interview with 1PH sa Totoo Lang, NTF medical advisor Ted Herbosa cautioned against using anecdotal references to boost public confidence over the vaccines.
We cannot use testimonials as scientific evidence. So, just because a few people were vaccinated from the PSG or Mr. Montulpo got a vaccination and he feels no complication, that doesn't prove whether the vaccine is safe or effective.
Yes.
It will prove it's a really randomized controlled trial or a study with huge numbers of people na tinatawag namin may sample size na tama depending on the findings na gusto mong makita. So may scientific way to prove efficacy and it's not by making yourself the experiment or the guinea pig.
Malacanang has denied having agreed to the Labor Department's plan to increase the deployment of Filipino nurses abroad in exchange for vaccine supplies. This after Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III claimed that the president was on board with the plan. Dale De Vera has the report.
A nurses group slams the Labor Department's Vaccines for Nurses proposal to the United Kingdom and Germany. They say healthcare workers should not be treated as mere commodity.
Bahagi tayo ng COVAX, ang dami na natin mga negotiations insofar as the vaccine procurement is concerned. May mga commitments, Tapos last chip? Last chip ba natin to na pati mga human resource natin, ilalagay mo na rin dun sa table for this kind of vaccine procurement.
Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello is asking for 3 million doses to exempt the countries from the deployment cap. Currently, only 5,000 workers are allowed to be deployed abroad. But Bello clarifies, nurses are not being traded for vaccines.
Hindi ko naman ginawang negotiation na leverage yung mga nurses natin. Sabi ko, kung pupunta sila doon, pag-aalanganin ka kasi ang taas ng COVID-19 doon sa kanila, di mas mabuti kung bago sila pumunta doon, vaccine na sila.
Bello also insists that President Duterte himself has shown support for the proposal.
Hindi naman siya nagsabi na, huwag ka mag-iusap ng gano'n. Sabi na, parang very positive din ang reaction niya.
But the spokesman of the chief executive says they were not consulted on the matter.
The President was not informed of this proposal, as far as I know.
The Health Department also says they were not part of the plan. UK Ambassador Daniel Prus meanwhile confirms speaking with Bello but denies having such agreement.
I mean, I'd say that we've got no plans to link vaccines with those conversations around the recruitment of nurses.
But Prus vows to assist the Philippines through the COVAX facility. For News 5, Dale De Vera, we are One News.
While vaccines have yet to officially arrive on Philippine shores, the Health Department insists that COVID-19 cases in the country are now plateauing. During the IATF's televised meeting, Health Secretary Francisco Duque III explained that the 2-week growth rate for cases has slowed down by 1% since the uptick during the holidays.
Although after the holiday season, there has been an increase in the slight increase in the number of cases. However, towards the end or mid-February, this has flattened or the increase has actually slowed down.
On the other hand, NTF Medical Advisor Ted Herbosa believes there could be 2 reasons for the sudden spike in COVID-19 cases in the country. Herbosa says it could either be an actual increase in COVID patients or it could also be due to the late arrival of data from testing labs.
The increase is, I think, a day increase. No? So we have to wait for yung tinatawag na 7-day average or 14-day averages, which is how the DOH looks at true increases. So kasi on a day, there can be labs that are not submitting, and then the following day, they will submit all the results together with the current results of that. That's the one that changes the daily monitoring. So akala mo there's a lot more, pero hindi pala.
Even though COVID-19 has a high recovery rate, for some survivors, the battle is far from over. This as they continue to experience COVID symptoms or long COVID even after recovering from the disease. JC Cosico tells us more.
5 months since recovering from COVID-19, Riza's sense of smell has yet to normalize. Breathing also remains a challenge.
Kahit nakahiga ako, parang ang bigat ng katawan, konting kilos, konting galaw, ramdam mo na hinihingal.
Barney Heroy still has difficulty sleeping 7 months after contracting the virus.
Nagigising ka sa gabi and then parang ang bilis ng heartbeat mo.
The two are experiencing what is called Longcovered. This is when effects still manifest even after recovery.
Medyo tumatagal ang komplikasyon in terms of yung epekto ng inflammation sa katawan natin. Kaya naapektuhan din yung mga ganong klaseng sintomas na tumutuloy pa rin maski wala na yung mikrobyo or yung virus sa katawan.
Infectious disease expert Dr. Ron Sulante estimates that around 1,000 recovered patients experience long COVID. Symptoms range from difficulty in breathing, loss of smell, taste, and appetite to sleeping difficulties. Its duration varies. Some even develop anxiety and depression.
So hindi naman yung dahil sa effect ng COVID, but because meron pa silang nararamdaman, kaya yun yung mga inano natin, na inire-refer natin for counseling or for psychological or psychiatric evaluation.
Health experts say these symptoms should be monitored and medical help must be sought if they worsen. The health department is still studying the long COVID condition among survivors.
Meron din po tayong yung mga nagtatrabaho ng COVID-19 CPGs and all. No? So kasama po yan sa pinag-aaralan nila. We'll just need to wait until they have data already.
Solante advises survivors to still get vaccinated to avoid further complications. For News 5, JC Cosico, We Are One News.
Here are the biggest stories from the dailies. 95 households in Pasay City have been infected with COVID-19. This comes after 55 out of the 201 barangays confirmed COVID cases in their area. Pangmasa reports that the city's epidemiology and surveillance unit expects more cases to be recorded as contact tracing efforts continue. Filipino Star ngayon reports that only 19% of adult Filipinos are willing to get inoculated. This is according to a national survey conducted by the Octa research team. 46% of respondents said they were unwilling to receive the shots, even if a safe and effective vaccine were to become available. About a third or 35% were on the fence about vaccination, and the top reasons for refusing vaccination included concerns about the safety and efficacy of the shots. But what's alarming is that 9% said they didn't want to get the vaccine because they don't think it is needed to fight the pandemic. And this from the Philippine Star, former President Fidel V. Ramos said the people power revolution that they started in EDSA 35 years ago remains unfinished. Ramos is one of the surviving leaders of the EDSA revolution that put an end to the dictatorship of Ferdinand Marcos in 1986. Ramos said today's commemoration of people power serves as a reminder that we can always, quote, make things right and do things right. Moving on to other headlines, the PNP and PDEA have formed a board of inquiry to lead the investigation into the supposed misencounter between the PNP and anti-illegal drug operatives and PDEA agents. This after 2 police officers died in the shootout that happened past 5 p.m. yesterday near a mall in Quezon City. PNP Chief Dibold Sinas appointed the CIDG to lead the investigating body, while the regional director for the NCRPO will serve as the spokesman on the matter. The law enforcement agencies both agree and assure the public that the incident will not affect their operational relationship.
It's very unfortunate na nagkaroon ng misencounter both sides. Actually, it is illegitimate anti-illegal drugs operation. Drug operation kasi ito talagang hindi po natin maiwasan. Yeah. Hindi lang po ito first time na nangyari, maraming beses na.
Meanwhile, Justice Secretary Minardo Guevara has also ordered the NBI to conduct a separate probe into the incident. Time now for the latest news in the entertainment scene. BTS makes their debut appearance at the famous MTV Unplugged Extra Special after serenading armies with one of their favorite songs. MJ Marfori tells us more.
Just when you thought they've done it all, South Korean boy group BTS hits another milestone. The 7-piece makes history with a debut appearance on MTV Unplugged. The series has featured some of the biggest musical acts from Nirvana to Eric Clapton. And BTS is the latest addition.
Let's go.
A soulful rendition of Coldplay's Fix You proved to be the highlight of their Unplugged appearance. News 5, MJ Marfori, we are One News.
And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later at 10 a.m. as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.